So I'm going to try and pick this KABA on this Gemini on camera, and I'm launching straight into it because I've tried a couple of times and overset the pins. I'll show you in a bit how easy it is to do. Now I'm using a Talon's style pick for this. I've taken the dimensions that he's very kindly kind of offered up, and I've had a go at making one out of a piece of old stainless. And so that you can see at least a little bit of what's going on, I'm tensioning off the back instead of using the usual tensioner. Again, the same piece of stainless stock I ground down to make a tensioner that fits really nicely. I've got a couple of these locks, and one of them I've already stripped down, so in a little bit, once this is picked and done, assuming I can manage to pick this on camera, then I'll show you what the internals look like. So in case you're not familiar, there are two opposing rows of pins, and what I'm doing now is I'm working my way back and forth, and I'm just setting each of those. So there's some at the kind of the top of the frame and some at the bottom of the frame. In this lock there's an additional 2 pins up at the top of the keyway, and you'll see in a mo that I'll switch to a tiller, I think, in order to attack those. Now I quite often use just the tip of this kind of dimple pick in order to pick the ones in the top, but I'm not sure if I've got room in this, so I should apologise really for not recording the audio live and recording voiceover for you. I was concentrating and forgot to talk. So here we go, this is my attempt now. I'm picking the top 2, and because all the key pins are all of the driver pins are very slightly tapered, and the taper is really fine, then every time that you set a pin you get a little click, you feel a bit of a change in the tension on your tensioner. You don't really see any core rotation, but you feel it a little bit, and then you have to kind of go back to the other pins, and so that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm working my way back and forth, and every time I touch one of these pins I'm kind of just nudging it. Even the slightest tap usually sets them a little bit more, and you just feel a change in tension, or you hear a tiny click. It's worth saying, I use quite a lot of tension on these, because if I accidentally tap one of the pins I didn't mean to, which is quite easy to do, then you'll easily overset it unless you have fairly high tension on. I guess you can see here that I keep working my way back and forth, and I'm not really jiggling the pins. I'm just tapping them ever so lightly, and I'm just feeling for the different kind of the different feel, I suppose. So when they're set and you've got a little bit of core rotation on, the pins are rock solid and they don't really move much. When you're still kind of picking them, when they're still not quite set, you do get a slightly different feel to them, and they do move under a little bit. It's very difficult to describe the difference in pressure that you need in order to kind of in order to move them or not, but you can see it's quite fine. And now again, very difficult for you to see on the camera, and another reason for why it's worth doing as a voiceover here, I guess, is that it's quite hard to sort of talk about this in the moment and concentrate, or I find anyway. So there's a difference in feel now, and I know that I'm getting to the end of picking this because I've had a tiny bit of core rotation, and the pins have all stiffened up a lot, and so now I'm just trying to work out whether there's about 3 or 4 pins here, and I can't quite work out which of those is the binder and which of those is actually properly set, because the feel is very similar amongst all of them. So I'm slowly working my way through them, and I'm just backing off the tension ever so slightly. And you'll see I'll start just attacking the front couple in a second, because I'm pretty sure that the others are done. And so here we go, I'm going to try and attack the front two. I'm just increasing, you can just see I'm increasing the tension little by little, and I'm pretty sure that one's set. So let's try the next one in, and you can just see there, I think, a little bit of spring in the pick. So I'm going to try that one on the bottom face, and then any second I'll find the right one. It was actually the second in, I think, from memory. We'll see in a sec. This is the point when I so frequently overset things, but here we are, second one back, I think, and just there we go, done. Thank goodness. Okay, so you just saw me pick this thing, and I should now gut it, but I'm not going to, because I've got one that I gutted earlier. So this is the the housing, I guess. This is mostly redundant, and the interesting bit is this bit, and so that's the actual lock business itself. There's a little sleeve, and that sleeve slides off, and then you've got the core and the outer, and these little dimples line up with these holes. So you can see that there's a couple of pins at the top. You can see there's a number of pins down the side, a number of pins down each side. There's a pin in there, and if we take a look at it, you can see why these things are so fiddly, or can be so fiddly. So this is, oops, this is tapered, and there's like this little anti-bump, anti-picking thing. So if you overset one of these pins, that's it, there's no coming back. So this is the key pin. The driver pins look like this. You can see there's a little kind of hollow, oops, a little hollow, because there's obviously not a lot of room for springs, and it's very hard to see on here, but they are ever so slightly tapered. It's very difficult to show you. They're tapered. Go on, camera, focus. So, as well as those pins, as well as these ones with the lovely security features, you've also got these ones. So some of the key pins look like this, and again you can see that this is tapered, incredibly easy to overset. They're really lovely things. You can see perhaps why I'm not going to gut this one for you. I will reset it and pop the key in. Oops, wrong one. Pop the key in. You can see that it does work. Okay, so that's the KABA.